And I'm here with my longtime friend and musical partner, Andres Ferrero.
Hey, this is Andres Ferrero. I'm the drummer on the Broadway show Hamilton.
I'm the guitar player with Steve Smith and Vital Information, and the musical director for the Drum Fantasy Camp and Play Along Tunes.
I have a deep love for guitars, and I'm grateful to be a part of this new show with Vinny.
The show is
called Guitars and Memoirs, so thanks for joining our show.
Talking all things guitar with the guitarists that make a difference.
So how did you get involved in teaching? When did you start teaching?
I started teaching when I was about 18 years old. The guy that taught me, Bruce Johnson, said, listen, whenever you learn anything, you have to approach it two ways, as an artist and a scientist. You have to play it as an artist to see where's the beauty, where's the music in it, and also as a scientist, like if you were going to teach someone else, how would you tell them to do it? So my whole career, everything I play, I can explain to someone else. Everything. Every single piece. It doesn't mean I do explain everything, because a lot of times the process of discovery is the most important part of, like George Benson never showed me a note, but all the work I did to learn from him is what made me the player I am today. Had you given it away, maybe I wouldn't be able to play. Right. So I started teaching super early. How I got the gig really teaching big time at Manhattan School of Music, which was my first real big, that's the #2 conservatory behind Juilliard in the world. I got that gig because I was teaching several of their students privately. And at the time, the head of the program, a guy named Dick Lowenthal, called me on the phone and said, "Are you Rodney Jones?" Yeah. He said, "Are you the Rodney Jones who's teaching our guitar students?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Well, if you're teaching them, why you should be teaching them at this school." They were studying from, other guitar players that I don't need to name. You can find out who's teaching there, and, who were great guitar players, but just, I was doing something different, Sure. And so then that was that. And I was at Manhattan School of Music for more than 30 years. I just recently left. I decided that I was going to leave just as the pandemic was occurring. And then I was at Juilliard for 12 years.
So. That's amazing.
So how has that shaped the musician you are today?
Teaching?
Teaching, I'd say in general. How has that shaped the musician?
Well, a student is a student master, and a master is a master student. I know how to study, I know how to learn. A student's trying to be that. They're trying to learn how to study and how to learn. I know how to do it. But I'm good at being a student. I'm good at learning. That's the difference. So that's number one. Number two, it forces me to be able to really know what I'm talking about, because I got to explain something, answer questions. I can't fake that my way through that. I have to know what I'm talking about and be able to explain what I'm talking about from a number of different angles, because some person gets it this way and someone else gets it that way. I never teach anything I can't do. So if I'm teaching you something and say, well, I don't really get it, I say, well, here, listen to this. Now do you get it? So I don't leave anything to like guesswork. You don't have to believe me. I will show you what I'm doing and show you the benefit of what I'm doing. You can hear it and you tell me, did it work?
Right.
So that's that. But the most important quality of a teacher, I think there's a difference in being a teacher and a player. There are great players that teach, but there are very few great teachers that play.
Yeah.
And the heart of a player is different than the heart of a teacher. You can be both, but most often you're one or the other. And I take more joy in my students' success than my own. I take more enjoyment in seeing a student grow than playing a gig. So this is how I know I'm a teacher. I enjoy someone seeing the light bulb go off for them more than I do getting the applause for me. And so I realized that that's a teacher's heart. Both my parents were teachers, and I realized that I grew up seeing the value of a teacher. I saw my dad, for his students, turn decades into weeks. He took decades of his life experience and could explain things that would save decades for students. And I had great teachers. I had, Bruce Johnson, who was a master teacher who went from not being able to play to being able to play with Dizzy Gillespie. So I said, wow, the power of a teacher to really change someone's life, to really send them, if you show them the right things, it really is a life-changing moment. It's not just music, it changes someone's life.
Yeah. So
I realized the value of that. I'd experienced what a sincere, devoted teacher meant. So I decided that was who I am. Not who I wanted to be, that was who I am. And I realized that, Bruce's admonition to me, like, be a scientist, served me well, because even at 18, the things I could play, I could show other people to play. Even if they were 3 years behind or 2 years behind, I could still show them, here's how you do that. Here's the picking of that. Here's how to think about that. Bruce also told me every time I play any chord, I should see 3 or 4 other chords as well at the same time. Well, that opened me up to how to do harmony, because I immediately, anytime there was one chord, I thought 3 or 4 other chords. I was just trained from day one. You play D minor. Okay, what else is it? What else is it? E flat major 7 flat 5. Put E flat in the bass. Okay, what else is it? A G sus chord. Put it over G. What else is it? B flat major 6th. Okay, what else is it? And on and on. A minor 7 sharp 5. What else is it? He was like that. And so when I got in college, I exempted out of all the theory classes and all the arranging classes as a freshman, because I knew all I couldn't explain it, but it was mysterious to the teachers, because, and this is something that I have, it's not synesthesia, but when I play chords, when I think theory, I don't think notes, I think fractals. I see the chords in my mind. And so when I'm telling you, they say, well, spell this chord? I'm just looking at it. Huh. I'm not thinking of what scale it's from and what mode it is. I'm not thinking any of that. I can literally see it on the fingerboard or on the keyboard. I can see, oh, it's this. Yeah. You're like, oh my God, you're a theoretical genius. I'm like, not really. Ask me to spell a melodic minor. I'm in a world of trouble. But ask me to see the chords of a melodic minor, and I got you. I can see them and say them all. You would assume that I know everything about it, because I can say that, but I can't. To this day I can't. But I can see chords. And I can hear chords. So I can hear all the chords in my head before I play them. And when I play now, everything I play, I hear before I play. I don't play anything that I don't hear. Wow. So I hear, I can, the moment I, play an A13 flat 9, I can hear exactly what it is. I know exactly what chord that is. I know what it is. I know that it's an F triad over A7. And I can hear, there's your F. F sharp, sorry, F sharp. So I can hear that. So because I know what F7, I know A7 could be 10 chords. I know F sharp could be 10 chords. So then it's just a matter of what I want to say it is and how I want to get in. The rule of theory for me is this, that if the second chord sounds good after the first chord, it's correct. That was my operating system of theory. Bruce was like, if you hear it and you believe it, it doesn't matter what someone says is right or wrong. If you hear it and you believe it, it's right. End of story, period. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. The people that tell you otherwise don't trust their own intuition. Trust your instinct. If it sounds right to you, who's going to say it's wrong? It sounds right to you. Play it.
But, having the ability to disseminate that information, to tell students exactly what you're doing, is really special. It
is a gift, yeah.
I think, as you said, there are very few people that can do both, but I think that really is finding out what the student needs. The student needs, and then being able to to
Taylor.
balance that with what you want the student to learn and what you know the student will need to learn, like what Bruce Johnson told you, but then being able to tell them how to learn it.
Yeah, well, I think being a great diagnostician is important.
Yeah.
I can listen to someone play and identify immediately what they need to do. That's like you go to a great specialist. There's no way you pay a doctor and he's worth $200 for the 20 minutes you see him, but you're paying for his expertise. You're not paying for his time, and it's like that with me too, so yes, everyone I teach individually to them, but I have figured out, I did a course called How to Play Jazz Guitar, which is still available online. And I figured out how to teach someone how to play jazz guitar. I took a bunch of students and all of them were beginner. They could play guitar, but not jazz. And when they finished the course, 12 weeks later, they could all play intermediate jazz. They went from nothing to intermediate. So I figured out all the elements. I know, there's 5 ways to comp. There's 5 rhythms. There's 5 things to master. I figured it out. There's, 7 chord tune types to learn. These are the rhythms to practice. I have it in my mind. It's so clear, and it works. I've taught it to, James Zito, who's, a brilliant young guitar player, is going to be going to the artist diploma program at Juilliard. I showed him those things, and he went from like learning those things to now he's the guy at the highest diplomas, given at Juilliard in their ensemble. David Rosenthal, the same thing, is the #1 working guitar player in New York. I took him through those things. And so, I think that I did discover some things about what are the real important things to know. And I've codified them. And I have a book that I just finished. It's about 299 pages of all those things, of all the summation of what are those things and how you do them. And that's what I offer in my courses. Every course I teach has those things in it. And I think that's a real value added because, it's important to know what to work on, but it's equally important to know the order to work on.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very true.
How to build it and to know that if I do this thing and it connects to this and it connects to that. So
it's also important to get the feedback from a teacher as to what you're not doing right or what you are doing right.
Yeah. And to know what right is.
Yes.
To know because my ultimate goal, anytime I'm teaching a student, is for them to play like themselves.
Exactly. I was just gonna say that.
Right. But the price for that is study the masters. You don't do yourself by just doing you.
No. And
not knowing what's come before. It's ridiculous. You want to pick on the guitar and you don't study George Benson, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
You would be a fool to say, I want to have great picking on the guitar and you don't study. Doesn't mean you're going to play like him. But to at least study him and to study Django, how can a guy play with 2 fingers and play that? How is that even possible? How could Wes use 3 fingers and play the things he played with his thumb? How is that even possible? That's a worthwhile study. Not that you're ever going to be Wes or Django or George Benson, because you're not. But there's so much wisdom there about what you can do. And I looked at all those guys. I look at everybody and say, what do they do that I really like and how do they do it?
Right.
If I really like it, I don't do it to copy them. But if they have some quality that they like, I want to see how they're getting that. When I listen to them, I say, oh, I love that. Why aren't I learning that? If I love that, don't I want to feel that when I play? It's a no-brainer. So then I'm like, okay, I want to get that. I want to get what that is. So, and likewise, not just on guitar, other instruments. I listen to Coltrane. I was like, how is he doing that? Not what is he doing? How is he doing it?
How is he doing?
What does it mean? What's the intention behind it? What's the thought behind it? It's called, and how is he phrasing it? Not the notes, but how are the notes being played? This is the lead horn training. It matters. It matters whether he's legato or tonguing the note and how he's mixing those up and where are the dynamics in it. A lot of players today on guitar in particular don't play with much dynamics.
No.
And that's a huge part of the legacy and history of jazz in general and jazz guitar in specific. That only really ended primarily with the ascension of Pat Martino, where then most Caucasian guitar players chase that carrot, and Pat was a genius, but dynamics is not his thing.
Yeah.
That's not what he does. He does brilliant lines, sheets of sound lines that are incredibly put together and brilliant, but he doesn't break up the time the way George Benson or Wes Montgomery does. So you have to do both. You have to take the best of that. Just like black guitar players, African American guitar players chase the George Benson carrot, but they chase the pop George Benson carrot. So they can do that, but then you hear him swing, it's like not really up to par.
Yeah.
Not really that thing. So, the idea is, music, jazz in particular, and jazz guitar specifically, is the most racially ambiguous where it's not really important. What really matters is you play from the heart and the soul and play great. Someone like Vinny, or an Ed Cherry or Peter Bernstein or Russell Malone or Henry Johnson or Bobby Broom. And, it doesn't matter your color of your skin or your race or religion or that doesn't matter. It matters, do you play with feeling?
Yeah.
Can I feel you? Do I believe you when I hear you play? Do I believe that you mean it? And if I do, then we're brothers. And if we don't, then you're my student.
I love when you say, is it authentic?
Yeah. That's the thing I always love to look. When we did gig at Trumpets, man, and I was playing pretty good that night.
You were burning.
I did a certain type of thing, and then, but then, you got up there and you played great and you did you. And I was like, man, that's why he's freaking Vinny Valentino. That's why George Benson loves him. None of us are George Benson. George and Benson love us because we can be George. George Benson loves Vinny because Vinny can be Vinny. And that's why he loves me.
That's it.
That's the quality. And so I said, well, that's what makes us family, that thing. And the love is the most important thing. That's the bond, what makes us be in that brotherhood of like why I'm here on this thing for Vinny. That's why I'm here.
Yeah.
Not because Vinny plays great, although he does, but lots of people play great. It's more than that. It's not playing great. It's real. It's authentic. It's a thing that like I recognize home. I hear Vinny play and say, oh yeah, that's home to me. I know what that is. I listen to Barney Kessel play. That's home. I listen to Wes Montgomery, George Benson, Grant Green, Kenny Burrell. That's home to me. Les Spann, that's home. I know what that is, Ed Bickert. They're guys that have the, you hear them play and it's like they're real. And then other guys that play genius, not to slight anybody. I mean, Johnny Smith is a genius. But his music doesn't send me home. It sends me thinking.
Yeah.
It might send me dreaming, but it doesn't send me home. It's different. Jimi Hendrix's music sends me home. Johnny Winter doesn't.
Yeah.
But I love Johnny. Stevie Ray Vaughan does. See, it's just a different thing. Prince does.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Jackson didn't. James Brown does. Chaka Khan does. Aretha Franklin, just depends. Mariah Carey, not so much. These are people I played with,
Yeah.
Man, that's a beautiful thing.
Oh my God. Talk about soulfulness. Bonnie Raitt, come on. She's dripping, she's a pigfoot in a dress.
Yeah.
She's dripping in soulfulness. It's beautiful. She's a beautiful human being, but when she plays, it's like, it's as real as anything Coltrane played. Johnny Hooker plays, it's equally real. Bill Evans plays, it's just, Miles. It's this level of a thing that not everybody touches that thing in that way.
When did you play with her?
I played with Bonnie Raitt from like 85 to, was it 85? Yeah, about 85 to about 80. I did a tour with her, Bonnie Raitt and Charles Brown.
Did you ever hang out at Fleetwood's in Arlington, North Arlington?
No.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah. It was a club in on the water there in Arlington. It was really kind of off the beaten path, but she came through there because she was friends with Mick Fleetwood, who owned it. And I was in the house band at the time.
Wow.
And she sat in with us a couple times.
Played slide and the whole thing.
Yeah, man, she was something else.
Yeah, I mean, I'm done. When she sings "I Can't Make You Love Me," I'm done to this day. I'm done.
Yeah,
I'm just done. It's one of the great songs of all time. So
yeah.
I haven't played anything for you guys today.
Yeah, we'd love to hear you play.
Probably cold as ice. What would you all like me to play? You want me to play some blues? You want me to play a standard? You want me to play some ballads? You want me to play the more adventuresome Coltrane type of thing? Do you want me to play something that's in between? What would you like to hear?
I'd love to hear a ballad.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, since you'd like to hear a ballad, I'll give you a choice of. So what I haven't, I could play by myself, but why should I do that? I will. I have an original ballad that's kind of a Wayne Shorter type of ballad, but I'm not going to feature that because I don't really play great on that. It's just like meant to be played with the melody over. I could play "Darn That Dream," or I could play "It Could Happen to You." Now, "It Could Happen to You" I recorded today, and I'm not. It's a nice track, and I'll play it well, but it's not. "Darn That Dream" I've played, maybe 10 or 15 times here. Your choice between those two. I'll play either one. If you want to hear like the raw Rodney, like what he does, like having played it just today, or you want to hear like something I played a lot, it's your choice.
Let's go with the raw Rodney.
Oh, okay. All right. There's always one in every crowd. One in every crowd. Now, if I can find it, I will see where I recorded that track on here. This is talk amongst yourselves.
Well, what I was going to say is having Andres here, it reminds me of a question that I had for you one time. Have you ever done Broadway or a gig like that?
More than any other guitar player you've ever talked to. I think it's 16. I think I did it here. I think this is. Let me see. That's it. Okay. Yeah, and I've done a lot of Broadway shows. I did Chorus Line. Believe that or not, I was just a kid, but I was good enough to play in Chorus Line, to be the sub in Chorus Line, but I did it. I did The Wiz on Broadway. I did Uptown It's Hot with Maurice Hines. I did Patti LuPone on Broadway. I did Black and Blue with Ruth Brown and Linda, whatever her name was. And
Linda
anyway,
Twine?
I did Lena Horne with Linda Twine.
Okay.
The Lady and Her Music. I've done the Louis Armstrong story with Debbie Allen. I did Billie Holiday at Emerson's Bar and Grill with Lynette McGee. I've done Eubie Blake on Broadway. So yeah, I've done a lot of.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It's not my favorite thing,
That's all right.
Black and Blue on Broadway. It's like I did Uptown It's Hot. No. Harlem Song at the Apollo with I don't remember who did it, but with George. I don't know. All right. Anyway, let me switch microphone. Remind me to switch back if I forget because it's gonna not sound as good. Okay, hold on. Switching microphones now.
Yeah, man. Wow.
You should hear the regular guy.
You're playing the lyric, Rodney. Woo!
That was beautiful.
Man, that was gorgeous.
Thank you. You asked for a ballad, so that I had to. I just told myself, okay, remember, you're getting paid per note. Paid per note.
Oh, that's so beautiful. When I was a young kid in Rochester, where I grew up, I used to sit on the lawn at Eastman School and listen to Gene Bertoncini play an acoustic guitar.
Master.
Yeah, and I could just sit and listen, and I could sit and listen to you play.
No,
It's
thank you.
so
Gina's
beautiful.
A good friend, and Gina's one of those unsung heroes. I mean, he plays a different thing than what I do. It's kind of it's worked out and thought out, but man, like, that much mental energy is, his sense of harmony and the chords is just magnificent. I do that a little bit, but I'm not in that kind of league at all. I got to stay to my lane, what I can do.
Beautiful. Thank you.
You're welcome. Blues? Am I playing blues? What am I doing?
Well, Rodney, we
Absolutely.
We are so grateful to have you here.
You're trying to sign me off? I'm getting ready to play.
No. Play that blues,
Play
please.
the blues.
Please.
I can't leave the
I wish
broadcast.
I could. It's frustrating being here, on Zoom and not being able to play with
I
you.
know, but it's great to have a captive audience.
That you have.
It's
That
great.
you have.
And also, you have to look interested because I'll look back at the video later and be like, I can't believe Vinny was frowning. I played that and he gave me that look like,
Vinny's like,
right, what was that? Right. Ambience. Rodney Jones in concert, Come on, man. Let's see. Let me switch back the other microphone for you. So we gotta have a party now, come on. And then I
Rodney Jones. Beautiful, man.
Oh my God. Oh,
And you covered all the bases on that blues.
All the basses and hopefully a few guitars as well.
man, I have like, white knuckles here hanging onto this chair listening to that. Jesus. Hey, really quickly, if you could just talk about your setup there. I love whatever you have going on there. What is it? So that you can
Well,
play.
good question. Well, I mean, I've been streaming since about 2 years before the pandemic. I sort of saw that handwriting on the wall. I know Vinny did too. So basically, this is a really high-end looping pedal. So, I started off with a Diddle pedal, and then I got the stereo Diddle pedal, and on. This is an Electro Harmonix 95,000 pedal. And what's special about it is it's essentially a multi-track recorder. I can record each track independently, and then I can mix them at whatever volume levels I want in real time. For example, the bass on one track, drums. I didn't use the chords, but if I have chords, and I could put a conga beat or whatever else I wanted to have on it, So, it basically allows me, because I have the whole Pro Tools here thing set up, and I can do that, with that. But this allows me to do it much, much quicker. I literally can play it in, then do the next pass, and the next pass, and the Joe pass, and so but not only does it have individual level controls, it has panning, so I can pan things how I want it panned in the mix. And not only can I pan things, it will do fade in and fade outs how long I tell it to do. And not only can it do fade in and fade out, I also have separate gain control for my guitar level relative to everything else. So that's a great thing. Not only will it do that, it will also sync to MIDI if I want to dub it to something else and have it slave to something else, or power it, master something else. And not only does it do that, but another great feature that it has 4 outs, so I can run 4 outputs. More importantly, though, I can submix any tracks to any other track. So I could say, if I get the bass and drums the way I want, I can submix those to any track and have it in perpetuity. And I can do that in layer, like sound on sound type of layering.
Yeah.
So I can build a track from the ground up, and I have 8 distinct individual tracks, but then I can combine those in any way and do mixes and submixes and bounce to different parts. So really, once I got past the initial learning curve of it, because it's more involved than a Diddle pedal, obviously. But once I got past that learning curve of it, it's real freedom. This thing here, this is an iPad Mini, and all that is telling me this has 100 preset song slots that I can record about 30 hours of music into.
Wow.
So I have 100 songs in here, but this tells me where they are. I have no idea. It said, I want to play Speak Low. It's number 59.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to play Speak Low. I want to play Days of Wine and Roses with the big band that I did.
That's awesome.
So that's this part of it. This keyboard just allows me to type into the iPad Mini what I just recorded. And while I have it here, since that track I was doing was not as listed properly, it was listed as tune up. Well, I'll do it on my time. But anyway, I have to label that track. So that's that. Over here, which you can't see, I have a guitar synthesizer that I can trigger. I have a hex pickup for several guitars. I can trigger that and play anything I want with that. I also have a Super JB 1080 module, so I have all the instrumental things. If I turn on Pro Tools, I have, thousands and thousands of dollars worth of the highest sample, the same things that the Hollywood studios use. I can do anything. So, if I do that, that's this back here is an Akai Force. This is really for doing it. People use it for doing like, electronic dance music and kind of like that kind of thing. I can use it for that, but it sort of not really age appropriate. I don't look like the EDM guy at all, So I use it basically for some of its sounds, and it has really high end effects. It's like the world's most expensive effects pedal board.
Wow, that's great.
I'm running all that through 2 amplifiers. I'm running stereo through a Fender Blues, whatever it is, Deluxe, and a Quilter. And I'm just running stereo, so I can pan these things to either of those things. I've got 2 SM58s that then go into a Zoom H6N, which then connects to the computer, which then sends the audio to you guys.
Okay.
For talking, I use a Rode microphone. That's what I'm talking to now. For music, I'd use the H6N. I just switch between the 2 microphones. And that's basically it. I mean, the kind of things like, the more, because I write a lot of different types of music. So like, here's something that I recorded in a Pro Tools thing. You'll hear it's a different sort of sound.
Now, do you do the drums and bass too, or
everything? I use drum loops. I can program drums. It's all what I want to do. All of it.
Okay.
Because I have all the high end loops. I got everybody sampled here,
right?
And I have lower end loops on my iPad, iPod I can use. And so let's see here. So this is something that's a little more. Actually, rather than that, I'll play this because I was going to play an original thing, but rather than play an original, you'll recognize this is more like people know. So here's something that's recorded into Pro Tools where you hear the difference in the production value go up. This is Pro Tools ported over to this.
So you've got a lot of capabilities there, not only with the jazz swing tunes, but funk tunes, whatever. Gorgeous. Yeah.
Oh,
That is the tune.
Mongo.
That is the tune. And tell me if you agree with this. That sounds like the tune that George Benson must have recorded, but didn't.
But didn't.
He never recorded Little Sunflower on his
Yeah.
own.
Yeah.
And that arrangement, the way I played that, sounds exactly like it could be CTI George Benson playing Little
I was
Sunflower.
going to say
Totally.
CTI.
Like I even used the octaves. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's so I'm going to record that as a homage, you know, and send it to George and say, why didn't you record that?
Man, Rod,
Yeah.
yeah, what a gift it's been to have you, man. I'm just so grateful. I feel like, you know, I've just got to witness a concert. It was so amazing, and I'm so grateful. We both
Well,
are.
thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's an honor. I mean, you know, anything Vinny asked me to do, I'm going to do. And you as well. But I
Thank
got
you,
to
man.
say, you know, when you in the love and respect category, this is my brother in every way, you know, and when your brother asks you to do something, you do it. That's just the way it is.
We have that in common with him.
There you go. I mean, this is one of the great musicians of our time and one of the great human beings. And I just admire him more than he could imagine for reasons he can't imagine, or maybe he can. But, you know,
Amen.
Thank you,
Likewise.
Rodney.
I'm here for you, and I'm here for everybody that wants to play guitar and learn a little bit more about it. It's a great journey. It's worth the work. It's worth the effort. You know,
Couldn't agree more.
you know what I mean? Like it's hard work till you get to the summit of Everest, and you look at the view, and then you're like, wow, it was worth it. It's like,
Yeah. You know, so tell us how people can reach you. We know, and we'll put the links in throughout the video of your website. But is that the primary reason they?
no, the website. I don't. It's I don't really update it. The website is not really very good. The best way to reach me is just to message me on Facebook or send it to Jazz Guitar Scholars at gmail.com. I have, I think now 8 or 9 courses on Facebook. If you like what you heard me do, I can teach you to do it. I can teach everybody to do that. And I do. I have, there's my Line World course, Vinny, which you were a part of, and Tune World, I think there's more than 70 players, more than 180 videos. It's reasonably priced, and it's all there. And I do live Zoom calls every Wednesday to try to, answer questions and really be present. So it's really a mentorship program. But Jazz Guitar Scholars at gmail.com is the way to find me. It's the best way to get the latest information about what offerings I have. and what I can do. But I'm always available to try to help anyone that's trying to really play this guitar and it wants to play for love. If you don't want to play for love, or you're trying to figure that out, I'll work with you. But if you know if you're trying to play for money, I'm not your guy. If you're trying to play for showmanship and show off, I'm not your guy. If you're trying to play to be a badass, I'm not your guy. If you're trying to play to make a difference, I'm your guy.